Hello everyone, Jason Gomes making another video. So I wanted to follow up on some of the things that I've been talking about with as far as connecting with other people, the power of words, and sympathetic resonance. So in some of the other videos, I've covered the idea that your entire vascular system is comprised of a number of veins. So if you imagine your beating heart is pumping blood through various size veins. So here's a box of tuning forks. So you've got one for each chakra, and then this one right here, which is actually double the root chakra. So this would be like the connection between two people, which is essentially love and compassion, that energy radiance, right? Like body heat. So you'd have various frequencies that are light, and then you would also have warmth. So the idea is every single person that you talk to is connecting with these circulating energies inside of your body. And what we know about sound, and with tuning forks specifically, is that they vibrate at specific frequencies, just like your veins in your body. But more importantly, they vibrate sympathetically. Meaning that if I were to strike this tuning fork, other tuning forks that are tuned to this particular frequency, which is 256, would begin receiving that vibration from the air through radiance, basically. And they would also start vibrating sympathetically. So they would get a resonance built up by the first tuning fork, even if they weren't physically connected, which is essentially what's happening inside of your body. You have all these different frequencies that are being generated by the same muscle. So your heart, where energy is circulating around itself, you have the four chambers, so you have actually a mirroring, which is why you have the flower of life, where you have the colors and then they're inverted. So every single person in the center of their heart actually has swirling blood around itself rather than swirling linearly through a vein. So it actually creates a nesting of energy, which is the whole idea of the armillary wheel. So how those energies are aligned inside of your body determines how essentially they leverage one another and how each of these chakras function collectively as well as individually. So when you're talking about sympathetic resonance, it's very important to recognize that observation is extremely relevant in this case, because when they looked at quantum mechanics, what they understood was every single observer saw a different pattern on the atomic level when they looked at the atom, because atoms were actually sympathetically resonant with the electromagnetic field that's produced by the human heart and the human mind. And so there's an enormous amount of impact that the observer has. So the idea is when you see something in someone, you're actually resonating with that. So if you see, right, rather than having acceptance, if you belittle people and you make them feel unaccepted or that they are smart enough, not good enough, whatever, you're actually connecting with that energy inside of them and you're making it stronger. Whereas when you connect with energy that's harmonious with yourself, when you connect with what you love in yourself and other people, you're also making that stronger. And more importantly, in order to connect with, say, here's your throat chakra. So if you use negative words, if you use a lot of condescending language, if you use confrontational, dissonant language that creates that disharmony in your environment, first of all, not only are you making it stronger in that other person, you actually have to create that energy in yourself in order to give it to that person, because everything that you do is being created from the inside out. So whatever energy you connect with in another person, you're actually creating that inside of yourself. So even though you want to take that disharmonious energy and you want to be able to project it, just like a point to point, you're the first point that energy is coming from. So you have to create that in yourself. You have to experience that energy yourself. So any kind of hate, any kind of dis-ease which you're trying to project onto another person, it's coming from you, which means that your body, your heart, your vascular system has to resonate with that energy inside of you in order for you to emit it into your environment. So it doesn't make any sense for your heart, which is primarily geared towards maintaining the harmony inside of your body, to do that. Because your body doesn't know the difference between saying that person's an idiot and just creating the energy of that person's an idiot. You have to create that negative energy inside of yourself before you can project it onto another person. So ultimately, it's like drinking poison and expecting another person to die from it. So if you experience intense hate, you're not hating another person, you're literally experiencing hate and you're trying to channel it at another person, but ultimately you and that person experience that energy. It's not just that person, and in fact, you're receiving the blunt end of that energy. You're actually embodying it physically in your circulating energies, which is far more intense as far as its amplitude than what they're going to receive from your words. Just like this tuning fork, I have to hit one of these tuning forks quite a lot harder to get it to vibrate another tuning fork, because even though it's sympathetic resonance, most of the energy is trapped in the tuning fork that's creating the resonance. And the sympathetic resonance is much weaker in the receiving tuning fork. So that means you actually have to experience way more disharmony in your own body in order to project that to someone who will sympathetically resonate with that energy. And of course, they have to receive it. They have to actually take that energy into themselves and accept it as being true, which most people don't. So they try to deflect or reflect that energy back onto you, in which case you get an escalating resonance. You try to project to them, they try to reflect it back to you, but of course they have to project that energy, they have to create it in themselves before they can give it back to you. So if you fight someone, you cannot win, because you have to create dis-ease within yourself in order to create dis-ease within another, because your body, your heart, your mind, it doesn't know the difference between you talking about another person and you just talking about your energy, period. Because your words follow your energy, and your energy defines how these circulating energies in your body are traveling, and how the cardiovascular system and the neural system interact to produce and project those energies. So just a reminder that be kind to other people, because when you're kind to somebody else, when you connect with the love in somebody else, when you connect with the harmony in someone else, your observation is actually increasing that vibration in that person. You're actually increasing in them, and you're also, again, experiencing it in yourself. That's why it feels good to compliment people and to be well received by compliments. That's why it feels good to be kind to other people. That's why compassion feels good, because you have to amplify compassion in your body before you can project it, and compassion is the state of harmony. It's your body saying, oh, I love you, and you take that love and you give it to somebody else. And that's what is the key to understanding resonance. So quantum entanglement is like two thoughts being entangled because they're electromagnetism, and sound resonance is like two tuning forks being entangled, two physical objects like your vascular system being entangled. That's why we can feel so good or so bad in certain people's company, but no matter how we feel about another person, you should always try to connect with what you love, or at the very least what you like about that person, because you'll help them grow, you'll help the positive aspects of their personality, their consciousness, and their circulating energies be amplified, which will leave less room for disharmony and disease. And over a period of time, that harmony will become predominant. Just like if there's one person that's sick in a room full of healthy people, the chances of you getting sick are relatively small. But if there's one healthy person in a room full of diseased people, the chances of you becoming diseased are much higher. So we need to remember to connect with what we love in other people, because that's how we connect with that feeling in ourselves, and that's how we help them grow. And when you connect with what you hate in another person, what you dislike, what causes you dis-ease, that's actually instilling that energy in your body and amplifying it, even though you're talking about someone else. Your brain doesn't know that, your body doesn't know that, your blood doesn't know that, the water in your body doesn't know that. It's simply resonating with the energy that you're choosing to amplify, that you're choosing to connect with in yourself and in others, because we love in others what we love in ourselves, and we dislike in others what we dislike in ourselves. And so just remember, be conscious about how you connect with other people, and how that connection and how that observation does in fact have a tangible and scientifically validated connection between how you feel and how they feel. And remember that you can empower the goodness in other people just as easily as you can empower their ignorance, their fear, their greed. It's however you connect with them, that grows in them. And so just remember to connect with your highest self, so that that allows you to connect with the highest self in another person. So just wanted to give you a quick example of some of the ideas that allow people to transcend the cycle of fear and greed, violence and animosity, is by connecting with the opposite in people, so that you can instill that energy, so that you can empower that energy in another person. Because as soon as you observe it in another person and you get them to agree with you, especially if they agree with you, it grows in themselves. And even if they don't agree with you, it plants the seed for future change. Because you can't make somebody change immediately, but you can definitely plant the seeds of change that allow them to see things in themselves that they didn't see before, because they were consciously or unconsciously connecting with the negative aspects of themselves. So you can empower people to dramatically shift and transform simply by being a conscious observer and creating harmony in yourself that you share with other people. It's just compliments, it's kindness, it's compassion, it's generosity. And when we instill that in ourselves, we resonate that into our environment, and every single person that we connect to those qualities, we empower those qualities rather than their opposites. So just a quick reminder that what you focus on grows, and that's true for dis-ease as it is for harmony. So thank you very much for taking the time to listen. I hope that this kind of changes the way that you might be interacting with people right now. I know it's very difficult with a lot of kind of craziness going on, a lot of dis-ease that's being transferred and batted back and forth because nobody wants to absorb that dis-ease. But you can actually transform dis-ease just by loving yourself, and by loving yourself, you allow that to be transferred to other people in your environment. And it is simply a function of how physics works. It's how physics works, it's how quantum mechanics works. When you're talking about quantum entanglement or sympathetic resonance, it's the same function. One is for light, one is for sound, one is for feeling, one is for thinking. So you can change the way that people think and feel just by changing the way that you feel and think about them. Because that's how you connect with the goodness in people, is just by observing it and watching it grow. So thank you very much for taking the time to listen. I hope this is beneficial for you, and I'll try to continue making videos as things come to mind for various aspects where I think as a collective we could be improving just by doing very, very simple things and just changing the perspective on how we view other people and connecting with other people and how we form relationships. So have yourself a wonderful day, and let's keep working towards making America great again. And then after that, we can move on to the world. So have yourself a wonderful day, and thanks for taking the time to listen.